Good evening, parents, students, and families. We are here tonight for the Running Start information session for the year 2021 and 2022 year. Thank you for joining us. We have a very busy night ahead of us. We will include a question and answer session at the end of the evening. Uh, I do want to start by explaining the purpose of tonight. Tonight is an overview form to offer insight and details to be as helpful as possible as it relates to the Running Start program here at LSHS for the year of 2021-2022. Unbelievable. Here we are. We do have some guest speakers here on the panel that I would like to introduce, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their role, and I'm going to let them do that at this time. So would you please, Dan?
Hi, folks. My name is Dan Alderson. I'm one of the associate principals here at the high school, and I work to support the Running Start AP Calls in the high school programs here at the high school. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dan. Amy?
Hi, my name's Amy Wickland. I'm one of the other counselors at the high school.
Avianca?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avianca Walker. I'm the Everett Community College Running Start Coordinator and our Associate Director of Recruitment. It's great to meet you all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Avianca. Artie?
Well, thank you, Lake Stevens community, for inviting us in. My name is Artie Clevin, and I'm the founder and executive director of ORCA, also known as the Ocean Research College Academy. And I've worked with high school students in high school as well as college for 32 years. And I'm happy to share my perspective as an instructor in the college setting. So thank you again for having us.
Thank you, Artie. Aranza?
Hello, everyone. My name is Aranza Gallegos, and I'm the Director of Outreach and High School Programs at Everett Community College. I work alongside Avianca with our Running Start students.
Manny?
Hello, my name is Manny Margarito. I'm an ex-alumni class of 2019.
Well, Viking in the house. Thank you. And last but not least, Leslie?
Good evening. Thank you, Sal. Good evening to our Viking students and families. I am the principal here at Lake Stevens High School. My name is Leslie Ivelia, and it's always an exciting evening to join some time with you, but especially to be on this panel with these fine people here to present the information. I've worked with Artie through the years and all of the folks on the panel, and as Manny shared, being a Viking alum, we're so excited to have him here. Thank you for being here. Hope to answer your questions and bring enthusiasm around this topic of Running Start for those of you that are just in that stage of questioning.
Thank you, Leslie. And just as a reminder, we will be recording this live session. So this will be posted later tonight or tomorrow morning sometime, so that you guys will be able to go back and refer back to it as you please. So there will be plenty of opportunities for you to review the material. And at this time, I'm going to be sharing my screen. So just a few things to go over, like housekeeping rules, if you would. So as I'm sharing my screen, if you see that our faces are blocking the letters or whatnot, please feel free to drag and move over so that you are able to look at the information that is being presented. And with that, I'm going to get right to the presentation. Again, welcome to the Running Start information session. We got a few things to cover, so I'll get right to it. So, as I was saying, this is an overview of the Running Start program. Tonight, we're going to be talking about 6 parts. Who's eligible? Second is going to be the LSHS process. And once I'm done talking about our process and who's eligible, we brought the reinforcements for you who are going to be talking about the EVCC perspective, so that you parents and students can get the actual EVCC, again, side of things, right from the source. Number 4, we're going to be talking about Running Start and going to give you an instructor's perspective so that again, you get the information right from the source. Number 5, we're going to be talking about the Running Start student perspective. We brought in a former student, a former Viking that is here with us, so he will be able to share with you, your parents, students, his real life story, what it's like to be a Running Start student and a Viking at the same time. And the last part is going to be a Q&A session, and at the end, where you will be able to answer or ask questions. Ask questions at the end. So, we anticipate to answer all of the questions during the presentation. So at this time, if you want, you can jot down your questions and wait until the end. When I'm done talking, we will be going over those questions. There should be a little bubble at the bottom with the Q&A. So please hold on. Don't put up the questions there right now until the presentation is over. Again, we anticipate to answer most of those questions during the presentation. Okay, so part 1, who's eligible? Well, to start with, you got to be a junior and a senior in order to be eligible for the Running Start program. And now, guys, this is new for during COVID times. You have to have a 2.5 cumulative GPA in order to be placed into English 101. And mind you, this is until June 30th, during COVID. This is something different than previous years where students used to be able to take an active placement test. For now, again, until June 30th, you will be able to place into English 101 by having a 2.5 cumulative GPA. For math, you got to have a B or higher in Algebra 2. And now, guys, this is preferred and recommended, not necessarily be into this class. You can also take this at the high school. I will go over that in more detail in the later slides. Now let's talk about the process. LSHS process. Number 1, you're gonna have to complete an online EVCC application and attach the required documents. This might be a transcript, which the transcript will include your GPA, which is what EVCC is accepting at this time. Number 2, please, yes, allow EVCC 5 to 6 days to process, because they're really busy during these days, guys, when they're getting all the applications, and it's really busy around there. So please, please, please allow 5 to 7 days to process. Number 3 is read your email. Once they get your application, EVCC will email you with instructions on what the next steps are. So it's really important that you keep a lookout for your email. So what happens once you're admitted, then you move on to number 4. You got to complete the mandatory online orientation with Everett Community College. This is mandatory. And again, keep in mind, you have to do all of these things in order to get to the next step. Otherwise, it could put a block on your application and you won't be able to move on. Number 5, and this is really important and has to do with the LSHS process. You have to meet with your counselor and fill out a Running Start enrollment verification form. And I put it here in white. It's also going to be a live link. Once we post this, you're going to be able to click on it and access this form. Now, this form, I'm going to talk to it a little bit more in detail because it's very important. It's a form that you fill out and share with your counselor before each quarter. And number 6, you have to complete a mandatory entry advising with EVCC. Now, I believe they're having entry advising Monday through Friday. I believe it's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they will talk to you more about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, later on. Now, continuing with the LSHS process. This is what I was telling you about earlier and on the slide before, the Running Start enrollment verification form. This is very important, guys. So it must be filled out by you, the parent, and the counselor. If you look on the left, the top portion of it is the student portion. That's where you guys fill out as a student. The middle part, that's going to be the counselor part to fill out. And then the bottom part, it's where you, student, and your parent sign together. You have to make sure, and with this form, that you pick classes that are over the 100 level. And again, this form is turned into us, the counselor, fall, winter, and spring. So 3 quarters. Now I put this slide here because this is a document that you will be using when you fill out the Running Start enrollment verification form. We have put supports in place for you. This is one of them, where this is the purpose of this document is for you to make sure that you are hitting all of the credits, a high school course. If you look on the left, make sure that you're hitting those classes and the college course on the right. That's the purpose of this Running Start course equivalency chart. So you will be using this every quarter. So I advise you to put this somewhere where you can access it. Put it in your, on your wall, on your notebooks, because again, this piece of paper you will be using along with your Running Start verification form. And don't worry, you will be meeting with your counselor and talking about this. Now that you've done all of that, let me tell you about this, the application priority deadlines. Now pay close attention to this because, again, it's fall, winter, and spring. So if you notice, for the fall, the priority deadline is May 10th, and classes start September 20th. Winter is November 4th. Classes start January 3rd. For the spring, the priority deadline is February 18th, with classes starting in April 4th. And I want you to pay close attention to this. If you notice the timing, they give you 2 months, about 2 months. For instance, winter, the priority deadline is November 4th. And if you see that class starts January 3rd, that's almost 2 months. So you have plenty of time to get this in and get it in on time. Also, if you can see this link, it's a live link where you can go. I'm not going to click on it right now because it will take me right to the website, the EVCC website, for you to check your registration date. And again, parents and students, I really recommend you check this often, because as we all know, times might change or the dates might change. So please always be checking this. Now, please direct your attention to the table on the right. And here, where you can notice that high school, I want to explain this to you. We have, at the high school, we have semester 1 and semester 2. And notice how on the right, it illustrates the quarters at the college. It's fall, winter, and spring. If you please would notice that the dates, they overlap. When we are going in a semester, the classes have already started at the college. And again, this affects you. For those of you that might be thinking of joining Running Start or not, is it for me or not? This might affect these are things to consider. Since the breaks, they don't align, your vacations might be affected. If you have siblings at the high school or little ones at the middle school here at Lake Stevens, when they might be on break, you might still be attending classes. So keep that in mind, you and your parents, to plan out vacations. The bottom, if you notice that if you stay at the high school, you will get 6 high school credits at the end of the year. And if you look on the right, if you are a Running Start student, you can end up with 9 high school credits. So that's another thing to keep in mind for those of you who are trying to decide. Now I have this here, the graduation requirements. Just because you're a Running Start student doesn't mean that you are required less credits. You are also required to meet the 24 graduation requirements to get a high school diploma from Lake Stevens High School. And I put this slide here just for you, again, remind you that this will be posted parents, students can go back and refer to it. They have seen this chart or this table of the 24 credits many times already. Even last week, we went over it with them during registration. So I'm not going to go over it. This will be just for you to access in the future if you need to. And here's this chart again, this table. We already covered the table on the left. So I want to talk to you about the table on the right. Now, some students choose to attend part-time. Some choose to attend full-time. Now, to be considered a full-time college student, EVCC student, you consider a full-time student if you take 3 classes. That's considered a full-time. If you have 6 classes or more at Lake Stevens High School, you are considered a full-time high school student. Now, there could be a combination of both. If you can look at the chart, you can take 2 college classes and 2 or 3 classes at Lake Stevens High School. And this is per quarter. So it is possible, it is tricky. Some of the things to consider, whether or not you want to become a RStart student or not. These are things to think about as you live here tonight. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I wanted to show you a sample schedule for a full-time student that, we've been hearing in previous presentations from parents that they would like to see sample schedule. And if, here at Lake Stevens High School, we listen to you, the people, and I'm sharing this with you. So this is a good example of a junior who is choosing to go into RStart full-time. If you can see here on the fall quarter, they will be taking English 101, History, and Math 107. Winter, they could try to take Spanish 122, the second part of junior history, History 147, and Chemistry 122. For the spring, they could take Spanish 123, Film 100, and Graphics 113. This will fit their CTE credit. Now remember, the classes at EVCC are not typically Monday through Friday. So be thoughtful of this when you're scheduling. Again, this is another area where things to consider as you're thinking about RStart full-time versus part-time. And here's a part-time sample schedule. And please remember, this is only a sample. There are many combinations for this. So this is just one. This will be a junior who is taking 2 classes at the college and 2 classes at the high school. For instance, I'm just going to go over the fall quarter. They could be taking English 101 and History 146. And notice that they're taking 2 classes at the high school, which is algebra. Earlier, I said that they do not need to place into a math class. It is recommended, but some students of ours, they decide to take math with us and take the rest at the college. That is also an option. And just remember, you can't schedule classes for days and times that conflict with the Lake Stevens High School classes. Right now, I have a student that is having issues with her current class here at Lake Stevens High School because it's being offered at the same time, the one that she's taking at EVCC. So think about that when you're scheduling your classes. Here we go. Communication. Communication is key. We have heard also from students and parents that they complain or they bring up to our attention that once they become a RStart student, they lose connection from Lake Stevens High School. They don't feel like they're a Viking anymore. So we have put these resources in place so that those students that decide to go, the RStart program, remain connected with us. They will be getting message. They can still get messages through Skyward. So it is always important for your student to keep their high school email, and so that they check it often, so that again they keep connected with Lake Stevens High School. We also have Running Start Google Classroom, where we also send messages. We also let them sign up for a Remind app that, again, they can get text messages for important information regarding graduation, school events. So again, this is here so for your students so that they still feel connected to us. And of course, the LSHS website, we always tell you students to keep checking our website, updated information. It's always, it's always there. Keep checking. Okay, speaking of communication, I put this in here for everybody. Most of you should already know your counselor, but this is here. If it falls on your letter of your last name, this will be posted. Their email is there, so you can see their faces of your counselor. You can, if you have questions, go ahead, email them. You're going to be meeting with them, when you fill out your Running Start enrollment verification form. So that's why this is here, in case you needed a reminder. Okay, that was part 1 and part 2. Oof. Thank you for sticking with me. Now we're ready to move on to part 3, where we brought the reinforcement so that you can get a little more information and insight of what it's like to be a Running Start student, right? The EVCC perspective. So with that said, I'm gonna let Mrs. Walker please take it away.
Yes, thank you so much, Sel. So I am here to talk a little bit about the perspective from the Everett Community College, starting with talking about your transcript. So Running Start is a dual credit program. Dual credit means that you're earning high school and college credit at the same time. And so you are starting an official college transcript by enrolling in Running Start. If you've done tech prep, if you've done CTE dual credit, or you've done college in the high school, you've already started your college transcript. And so joining the Running Start program would just be continuing to grow and add and build up that transcript. So that is an important thing to consider because that transcript follows you. So once you graduate from high school, if you continue on at the community college, your transcript is already established there as a Running Start student. If you want to finish up your associate's degree, or if you have plans to transfer to university, they are going to want to see the college credits that you've already accomplished at the community college level. And so it is really important to just be diligent and care about your grades and to ask for help, which we will talk about a little bit more later in the presentation. But one thing to know about the college transcript too is that the classes show up both places. So they'll show up on your high school transcript and your college transcript. And that includes any withdrawal, or we call them W's for short at EVCC. So you do have the option to start a class, and if it's not going so well for some reason, or if you have an emergency or something happens, 2020, who predicted that? There was a lot of students who had to drop their classes, and that's okay. We know that life happens. I think every person I know who's gone to college has at least one W. And so it's not unheard of, and it doesn't mean you can't move forward, but it is just something to think about and be aware of. And you don't want to rack up W after W after W because you're taking classes that you're not ready for yet. So important point to just remember that your college transcript will be starting while you're still in high school if you enroll in any dual credit program, including Running Start. Another thing that will happen if you join Running Start that's a little different than some of the other dual credit options is the weight of responsibility that falls to you, the student. So Zell set me up really well to let you know that you are going to be considered a college student if you enroll in Running Start. You will be an Everett Community College student, and our faculty and staff won't know that you are still in high school unless you choose to share that with them. So they're going to treat you like every other student that we have on campus. they are going to expect you to do the same amount of work at the same level as all the other students in your class. And our community colleges in Washington State are what we call open enrollment institutions. And so that means anyone who applies to the college is admitted if they complete the application process. So our students range in age from 16 to 65. So you are going to have so much age diversity in your classroom, and they are going to expect you to have the same level of responsibility as all of those other adults that you're going to school with. And we already alluded to some of the back and forth communication that you're going to have to be on top of. Zell said that communication is key. That is really true. We are not going to know that you are a high school student, that you have graduation requirements that you're trying to meet unless you share that with us. So we in the Running Start office will know, but we are 4 staff on a huge campus throughout the county. And so the instructors that you engage with, the other students, folks from other student services offices, they might not know that you have high school requirements that you're trying to meet, or just the different things that you're trying to balance as you balance life in college and life in high school. So you're going to want to keep that in mind and just make sure that you're being open and communicating with people as best you can, because everyone wants to help you, but we're going to depend on you to share the information that we need to give you the best support. Another thing to consider with the responsibility is that it will affect just the timelines of the things you want to do in life a little bit. So Zell showed those charts with the semester system and the quarter system. And one thing about that is that the breaks fall at different times. So your high school might go on spring break and all your friends have plans, or your parents are planning an awesome vacation, and COVID's over and you can get on an airplane again, and your college classes are still running because it's not spring break at the college because we already had it, or it hasn't happened yet because we're on the quarter system, not semesters. So that's a huge bummer. You got to plan ahead and plan to make sure that you are going to attend those college classes. You do not want to just be like, I'm going to just skip class for a week, because classes at the college, the quarter system, you're going to do a year's worth of high school work in 10 weeks at the college. So missing one of those 10 weeks puts a huge dent in your learning, which can put a huge dent in your grades. So keep in mind that there's just different responsibilities and lots of different deadlines to track, lots of different things that you need to communicate back and forth to let everybody who is in your support network have the information they need to give you the best support. So one of the things that is really important to keep in mind is what we call FERPA, which is the Family Rights, or I'm sorry, it's the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. And we call it FERPA for short, because that is a mouthful. And you see in the parentheses there, it says, sorry, mom and dad, because this is just a hugely different thing about being in Running Start compared to choosing one of the other dual credit options or staying at your high school. FERPA is a federal law that legally prevents us from sharing student information. So it's a privacy law. It's set up to protect students and their information. And it means that your parents can't ring up your instructors and find out what your grades are. They can't find out if you've been coming to class or not. The instructor is going to be like, I don't know who you are. I've never met you before and you're not in my class. I'm not going to talk to you. They can't talk to your parents about your assignments and if you're struggling with them. None of that is available to you because this law protects all of that information. And so there's just some things to keep in mind when it comes to FERPA. That is that we can't share that information with friends and family. So again, that goes back to that student responsibility. Is that responsibility then falls to you? You're welcome to tell whoever you want your information because it's your information. And we highly recommend that you tell people early and soon how you're doing so that they can support you, because everyone does want you to do well, but we all have to follow the rules. Another thing to keep in mind is that we will send your grades back to your high school at the end of every quarter. So your high school will know how you've done at the end, but they won't necessarily know how you're doing in the middle. And again, with that fast pace of the classes going 10 weeks and then you're done and you've done a year's worth of high school work, things can turn around really fast. And so we just want you to tell whoever you need to communicate with as soon as possible if you need anything. Also, if and when you come to campus, you're always welcome to bring anybody with you that you want. So we don't want FERPA to seem like you can't have the support of your family, you can't bring your friends with you, you have to do everything on your own. You are welcome to bring whoever you want with you. Just know that in an in-person scenario, or even in Zoom sometimes, the college faculty and staff may say, okay, well, if there's 2 people there, they may ask to identify who the student is if they don't know you already. And then they may turn and ask you, is it okay if the other person that's with you is a part of this conversation or not? Or would you like them to wait outside? Or would you like to step over here and have the conversation privately? And again, they're just trying to honor that law and respect your privacy and empower you to decide who you want to have access to your information. And then the last thing I'll say about FERPA is that we do have a release of information form. And so if there is somebody that you want us to be able to talk to, you can fill out this form and you can say, hey, please talk to my mom when she asks you a question. And we'll be like, great, we would love to talk to your mom. We've never met your mom, so we do need to see some photo ID to know that your mom is who you say she is and who she says she is. So the hard thing about that is it's not a great tool to use on the phone, but it does help us in person, and we have been able to check photo ID via Zoom. So we are learning new ways to be able to utilize that release of information form. So that being said, there are some really great perks of being in the Running Start program. And one of those is just the value of getting your associate's degree at the same time as earning your high school diploma. So not every student will automatically just graduate with their associate's degree and their high school diploma just because they participated in Running Start. You do have to plan to go full time, both your junior and senior year, if that is your goal, to graduate with both. Artie will talk more about the ORCA program, which is, I think, your best option if this is really important to you. And that's whether you're into marine biology or not. Like, I want to be an ORCA and I am not good at science, but it's just very amazing and they have a boat. And so if your priority is to graduate from high school with your associate's degree, Artie's going to have some information that you're going to want to listen to. But it's possible to either get credits toward your general transfer requirements to a university. So when your first 2 years when you're at a university, they have you completing what's called your general requirements. And if you do get your associate's degree, you are knocking those out at the community college, which is a financial savings because our tuition is significantly reduced from those at a university. And so whether you complete those before you graduate high school as part of the Running Start program, which is tuition free, so that's an extreme savings, or you graduate high school and you haven't quite finished your associate's degree, and so you come to Everett Community College and knock out a few more quarters and get your associate's degree that way. It's just a great way to save money. It's a great way to kind of move up slowly in all the rapid transitions that come firing at you when you get to like the junior year of high school and you're just becoming an adult so quickly. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. So we do have certificate programs as well that you can participate in as a Running Start student. And so a lot of folks who are interested in like arts, some medical fields, and some technical and vocational fields, when you get your associate's degree, you can go right into the workplace. So a great example is my sister's a graphic designer. She just took graphic design classes at a community college and was able to go right to work because that is the level of education that they require for that field. So depending on what you're interested in pursuing after you graduate, Running Start could be a great option for you to move into the world of working after school a lot quicker. And then it is also a great chance to just kind of dip your toe in the water of trying college out before you're like, also moving out and dealing with all these other adult things, you can kind of put on the college classes and try those out before you have to make a bunch of other transitions in life. So I know I was a student who participated in Running Start, and that piece of it specifically was really beneficial to me, just because I was a little gun shy about leaving home and kind of shy and really depended a lot on my parents. So FERPA forced me to have a little bit of separation from them, but I didn't have to have the huge amount that I would have had if I just jumped right into university right after high school. So those are some of the perks and the values of getting your associate's degree and your high school diploma. And then just want to talk a little bit about the challenges and a little bit more of how some of those challenges work, specifically in regards to just the pace and things like that. So we do operate on a quarter system, which we've said a couple of times now, and Running Start covers the fall, winter, and spring quarter tuition free. So you can attend all 3 of those quarters as a Running Start student, either full-time or part-time, and take classes at the community college. So a year's worth of your high school classes would be covered in one of those quarters at the college. So Zell already showed you those charts earlier that gives you a really good example of those. So as you're looking back through the presentation, just keep that in mind. Because we're covering a year's worth of information in 10 weeks, the pace is lightning fast. So again, if you are struggling and you need help, just let us know. We've all been there and we want to help you. Also, you need to consider not just the pace, but also the level of responsibility in regards to the homework that you're going to have. So our courses are weighted by what we call credits. So for every credit, the class has 1 hour of what we call in-class time. And that's whether you're taking the class in person and you're physically going and sitting in a classroom for 1 hour, or if you're online, it's still 1 hour of in-class time in your online class. And so your classes are going to range from anywhere from 1 credit to 5 credits. And so for every hour of that in-class time that you have, you're also going to have 2 hours of homework outside of class that you need to do. So an example is if you are a full-time student and you're taking 12 to 15 credits, which Running Start pays for up to 15 credits per quarter, then you are going to have 12 to 15 hours a week that you are sitting in class, either online or in person, plus 24 to 30 hours of homework outside of class. So you need to be pretty good at managing your time and just figuring out where you're going to fit all those things in with friends and job and extracurriculars and things that you want to do. So again, we just say all that to say, please ask for help. We all want to see you succeed. We all want to see your dreams come true. And there's just no time to wait if you are even having the hint of a struggle. We have so many things in place to support you, but you have to be responsible and let us know that you need the help. We have an amazing tutoring center. They've revamped all of their services to be available online due to COVID. We have a writing center that can help you if you're struggling in writing your papers, because sometimes in college you have classes where they're just asking you to write paper after paper. And if you struggle with writing, we can help you with that. We have an IT and Canvas help desk who can help you with technology supports. And then we also have services like our Center for Disability Services. I used disability services when I was in college. I wouldn't have graduated without those accommodations. I needed those to be able to pass my classes, and we can get those accommodations for you if you need them too. We also have free mental health and career counseling, and you will have an advisor who's assigned to you after your first quarter at the college also, who can be a mentor and a support to you throughout your time there. So it is challenging, but it also is possible, and we have lots of things in place to help you. So just let us know what you need. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bianca. And now we move on to part number 4, which will give you a brief overview of ORCA and an instructor's perspective. So Artie, please take it away.
All right, thanks, Sal. And Avianca, thank you for suggesting they dip their toe in and go out on a boat. So if you'll advance that slide for me, Sal, they'll have that contact information for you as well. And so my name's Artie Quevin, and 18 years ago when I created this program, the Ocean Research College Academy, and used the word ORCA, little did I know that everyone would think you have to study marine biology. This is my passion, and as my passion, it is my also understanding that I could teach you and connect you to this place through a myriad of subjects, but yet you can go on and study whatever you want in university. And Avianca, we have a graphic artist who graduated from ORCA, went to Western and did their program, and now leads a team at Zillow. So there's my graphic art story. But I just want to tell you briefly about ORCA, but most importantly, talk to you about what it's like to work with students in a college setting. So ORCA is a magnet program where you're going to get a STEM focus. 2/3 of our students pursue a STEM discipline. So if you're interested in medicine, which is the most common STEM field that you have familiarity with, but there are a myriad of others. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you have a STEM interest, you really need to talk with me. However, even if you don't, it would be something to really accelerate your pathway in this intensive 2-year program. So we take all our math, science, English, and history that you need to graduate high school, as well as get the associate's degree from Everett Community College, and we blend that into 2 years. So to learn more about ORCA, visit me next Thursday, same time, or actually 2 hours earlier at 6 o'clock on our website, has our Zoom link, or if you want to spend your tax day with us on April 15th, join us then. But I really want to share ultimately, number one, the congratulations that you're thinking about your future. Running Start and Lake Stevens High School have been one of our largest, I think, collaborators for students, partly because of the size of your high school, but most importantly because of the support that you get from your counselors, your principals, your assistant principals. It's just really tremendous that we're here tonight sharing opportunities for you to accelerate your learning. And the first thing that you've heard over and over again, I'm going to talk about the 3 R's of education. And in the olden days, when I was in school, it was reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, the number one thing I've heard tonight is responsibility. So the responsibility when you're a college student, when you're choosing to attend, it is a choice that you have, that you become the responsible party, and that contract for learning is with the student. And so the first thing we're going to ask you to do, and the number one thing to be successful in a college class, is to show up. So coming to class and being an active participant is that first responsibility piece. You heard Avianca talk about the flipping of the learning, where when I taught high school, I spent quite a bit of time in the beginning reviewing the previous material, covering some new material, and then engaging students with practice with that material. In college, the pace is so rapid, there's very little review, and it's pretty much all new material all the time. And so you spending time working with that material, doing the reading, is a critical attribute for your success. The second thing of my R's I would add is revision. I see a lot of students who do something the night before it's due and turn that in. And what we're going to ask you to do is think a little more deeply when you are formulating your words and when you're writing an essay, and we're going to ask you to revise it. So revision is that second R. And then finally, the third R in my 3 R's of education is reflection. What did you do and how did it work out for you? So thinking about what you did, how you really put the time into being the reflection piece is going to be huge. I know it's intimidating to talk to your college instructors. And I like to think I'm the most approachable person that I know, because I'm inside my own head and I think, oh, I'm really easy to talk to. But I do know that that is an intimidating aspect. And I also know in the brain of a teenager, you think other people are looking at you and judging you because of what you say or what you're doing. So I want to reinforce that your instructors are there to help you learn. We want you to ask questions. And the most successful way to do that when you don't get a score that you would like to have had a higher score on is come and talk to us during office hour and say, this is what I did to prepare for this exam or this essay. This is the score I got. What do you recommend I do differently? And so the engagement with the instructor on that level saying, oh, you made a mistake grading my essay is a very different parameter to think about. So I just really want both students and parents to think about the choices that you're making, take that responsibility, do some revision, but most importantly, reflect on your process and reflect on what your goals there are. What are you doing? And why are you doing it? I think is a really good question for you to ask yourself, particularly right now. So those are my quick nuggets of information, and I hope that you will join me next Thursday or on tax day to learn a little bit more about the ORCA program. So again, thank you to Sel, Dan, and Leslie for inviting us here today.
Thank you very much, Artie. And now we move on to the part number 5, where we wanted to bring you a student's perspective, where Manny, take it away, brother.
All right, thank you, Mr. T. So why Running Start? You know, you want to take advantage of an opportunity given to you that not many people have, and you just want to excel in that, and you want to take advantage of everything that's offered to you. You know, some pros of my experience was it made me more responsible as a student to take care of my classes, set up good time management. Maybe some cons was if you miss a class and you get delayed, it's gonna take some time to get back to schedule. And so that's maybe something you want to watch out for. What was it like being a Running Start student and a Viking at the same time? So I was a student athlete, or if you're gonna do clubs or anything like that, you want to be noticeable of that too. You know, some of your classes will run 2-3 hours, or they'll be scheduled for in the evening, and you really want to take advantage of scheduling your classes and knowing what times they're going to be. And once you sign up for classes, be the first one. As soon as registration opens, register right away, because those classes could fill up quickly. Like maybe today they're not full, but by tomorrow there's already 4 people on a wait list, and you might not get into that class. You know, and then you have to beg to the professor to let you get into the class, and some will, but then you also have professors who will just not take any more students. Some advice for students was, like I said, my time management and knowing when to take that free time and use it and when not to. Setting up an adequate study space. You know, the college offers, the library is a great way. They offer study people that will help you out. So if you feel like you're going back, or like you just don't get it, you know, there's always people that are willing to help you no matter what. Some advice for parents, I would say, is definitely ask your kids if they need help, or if you notice something is off, you know, hey, talk to them, try to de-stress them, because there's a lot of pressure when if you're falling back, or you just have so much things going on at the same time. You definitely want to help them out, you know, because we're still in high school, you know. So yeah.
Thank you, Manny. That was really helpful. Getting our students' perspective is priceless. And folks, we're coming down to the wire. It's about 8:21 right now, so we're nearing the end of our presentation right now. I want to be thoughtful of everybody's who joined us today, the EVCC staff, Manny. I want to be thoughtful of your time. If you have some time to stick around, you know, feel free to do so. If not, you can log off at 8:30. We were scheduled to be here from 7:30 to 8:30. I know there was lots of information that we could possibly, you know, it would be impossible to fit into 1 hour of one night. But folks, we remain hopeful that after tonight you live here with a better understanding, and we're not trying to scare you. Students, parents, we just wanted to give you insights and details so that you as a family, as a team, can make the decision whether or not to do Running Start coming up next. So again, this is the time for the Q&A. So please feel free to enter your questions in the little bubble at the bottom, the Q&A. We will be answering these questions in a live matter or in a written format. So without further ado, we will get started. Okay, now I have the first question from Don Burke. How do we get a transcript to apply?
Hey, sorry. Hey, T, would you mind stopping screen sharing so we can go big on the screen? So this will be more of the panel. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Dan.
Oh, you're good. We got each other's backs, man.
There we go. Now you can see us all. Is that better? Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if any of you would like to, anybody in the panel would like to tackle the questions, feel free to do so. And again, we'll start with how do we get a transcript to apply? Amy would like to answer that question, please. Go ahead, Amy.
I'm happy to answer that question. Students can either contact their counselor and request the transcript, and we can send it to them through a PDF form so they can attach it to their application, or they can contact our registrar and ask for the same thing. Please know that we get a lot of these requests during this time, so give us at least 24, 48-hour turnaround to get you your transcript. But yeah, just reach out to your counselor through email. It's probably the quickest way to get.
Thank you, Amy. I think I have a next question. Bianca would like to answer this. If I did college and high school as a sophomore and completed English and history credits through EVCC, do I apply again?
Yes, if you wanted to participate in the Running Start program, it's a dual credit program, but they're two different dual credit programs. So you would need to fill out our Running Start application. But in regards to placement, if you already have those college and the high school classes on your transcript, when you fill out the application, we're going to look up your account, and then we will be able to see that you took those classes on your transcript and use those for your placement.
Thank you, Bianca. Next question is, and this would like to be answered by Amy. When you sign up, do you take all quarters or do you decide which quarter you would like to do?
When you apply, you meet with your counselor at the high school and make a plan for what your Running Start schedule will look like. You are normally signing up to be a Running Start student for all of those quarters, depending on whether you're part-time with us or all the time with Everett Community College. But that's a plan you make with your counselor, and we prefer to have a meeting with you well in advance while you're in this application process to plan that stuff with you.
Thank you, Amy. Next question. If I did college and high school as a sophomore and completed English and history credits through EVCC, do I apply again? Bianca?
Sorry, I lost my mute button there. So I was trying to find the question. Could you repeat it, please?
Yes, no worries. So it says, if I did college and high school as a sophomore and completed English and history credits through EVCC, do I apply again?
Yes, so you would fill out the Running Start application because you're switching dual credit programs from college and the high school to Running Start. And then we could use your English class on your EVCC transcript for placement, but we would still need to see some placement for math for you. So you might also want to include your high school transcript if you've taken all your math classes at your high school.
Thank you, Bianca. Next question is for Amy. It looks like, when should students email their counselors to start the admissions process?
Great question. Now that we finished registration with most grades and we're getting to like the closing part of that, we are ready to start scheduling meetings with students and parents for Running Start. So you could email your counselor and request a meeting sometime within the next few weeks. We were hoping for mid-March as a good time to kind of start scheduling out some Running Start meetings with our students.
Thank you, Amy. Next question is going to be on the EVCC Running Start website, it says that the Washington State High School transcript can only be used for English placement. How will EVCC place students for math? Aranza?
Yes, great question. We highlight English in terms of high school transcript because we can actually use high school transcripts from out-of-state high schools for math placement. So as long as we have an unofficial copy of your high school transcript, we will be able to do both English and math placement evaluation.
Thank you, Aranza. Next question, what would it look like for a student who wants to be a class officer and also do Running Start? Amy?
It could look a lot of different ways. It's just a logistics thing for the students to figure out when they can be at the high school, how they've scheduled their classes at the college, what times their classes are scheduled to make sure they can still participate in all the things that an officer would need to. Kind of like what Manny said about being an athlete, you have to figure out how to manage your time and the logistics if they're in person, the back and forth between the high school and the college can be part of that as well. So it absolutely can happen. It's just, it's tricky.
Mr. Alderson, do you have something to add?
No, she got it with the tricky part. Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Next question, are Running Start students given the same options as regular college students to enroll in online class offerings? Bianca?
Yes, you are able to enroll in any of the class offerings that we have. You just want to be mindful of what other folks have mentioned a couple of times about especially if you're a part-time Running Start student, what time are your classes back at the high school and when do you need to be available? Because some of our online classes are what we call, I call it completely online, where your class never meets at a specific time, but some of them are live stream. And so even though it's online, your class is like meeting via Zoom or something like this live during a set time. And so you do just need to manage your schedule well, but you're allowed to take any of the classes.
Okay, I think we have a couple minutes for a couple more questions. Does Running Start affect the odds of getting into a university you want? Amy?
It definitely looks on a transcript to university that you're taking rigorous courses as long as you're getting good grades in those rigorous courses. I think it can help a college make a decision for you, but it's not required. You also look good getting good grades in rigorous courses at our high school as well. So it's all about how you do in the certain courses you choose.
Thank you, Amy. And I want to pause for a moment, and I see that there are many questions that are so valuable. Thank you all very, very much. But I want to be thoughtful of our panelists' time, and if I want to offer, if they need to go, feel free to do so. We can stay here and answer the rest of the questions. Wonderful. I really appreciate that. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much. So I will continue, but hey, if you need to go ahead, log off, and we'll continue to try to answer all of the questions, if not most of them. Let me go into the next one. Can a freshman apply for Running Start, Bianca?
No, unfortunately, Running Start, you have to be eligible for the program. You have to be a junior or a senior. So you have to have junior or senior standing and be enrolled in a local public high school to participate. But we're glad that you're here and interested as a freshman. Good job getting the information ahead of time. So we'll see in a couple of years.
That's what it's called, Running Start. Hey,
Yep.
You are getting a running. Next question. I know a Running Start student at LSHS that was not allowed to go to lunch or assemblies at the high school. Is this policy still in place, and why?
So I got this one. So the question really is do you have a valid and legitimate reason to be on campus? For assemblies, the answer is probably yes, because you're still connected to Lake Stevens High School. We would ask that you go through the regular process that we would ask of any other community member who really doesn't have another reason to be on campus. You would check in at the main office for an assembly. The question around lunch is really more around timing. If you're a part-time high school, part-time Running Start student, and you have fourth period here at the high school, which is when we traditionally have our our lunch? The answer is absolutely. Stick around for lunch. That's part of your legitimate reason for being here. The challenge is if you're a 6th period student and you're popping in for lunch just to say hey to your buddies, that's not really the process. So I hope that got both parts of the question. I see Miss Ivelia cued her mic, so hopefully I didn't mess it up.
No, you said it absolutely perfect, Mr. Alderson. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the question and that the individual has asked. I think it's also important to note that we are a closed campus. And so as Mr. Alderson shared, that's the purpose of the legitimate reason. I don't think it's always easy to take what your friends and peers have shared with you and apply it. So if you ever are indeed wondering, please do send us an email or connect with your counselor to ask those questions. We'll be happy to help. It isn't common that we have students on our campus unless they have that legitimate reason because we are a closed campus, but thank you for asking.
Thank you, Dan and Mr. Alderson. That was perfect for a principal and associate principal. Next question. I am a sophomore, 10th grade, and I saw that to be eligible, I have to be a junior or a senior. Is Running Start something I should sign up for this year or 11th grade next year? Just to clarify. Bianca.
Yeah, if you're a sophomore right now and you're going to be a junior in the fall, we would love to have you in the fall and you can start working on your application now. So for both Running Start and for ORCA, we have a priority application deadline of May 10th. And we put that application deadline in place because it does take a little bit of time for us to process everything. There's only 4 of us on the Running Start team. There's only 1 RD. And so we just need a little time to make sure that we get everything done for you. And also when you go on summer vacation, your counselors at the high school go on summer vacation. And as they shared, they need to support you in filling out that form. And so we really want you to have it done before everyone goes on break so that you're ready to go in the fall.
Thank you. Next question. Can you take any electives at EVCC if I'm doing Running Start full-time, or is it filled with requirements? Amy?
That's part of that meeting you're going to make with your counselor to plan out how you meet the high school requirements by going to Everett. Anything you need for us at the high school to graduate high school is available at the college. We just have to plan ahead and make sure that you're on the right track to get those. So you can do both. You can do electives and required courses. We just need to make sure we're meeting every quarter and we have an initial plan for how to do that.
Okay. Next one. Who pays for textbooks for college courses? Artie?
Would it be okay if we got both a teacher's and a student's perspective on that? Because I'd love to hear from both of those.
Manny, you go first.
So you would actually have to pay for your own textbooks or materials needed for the class. So if you're taking like an engineering graphics class, you also have to pay for the program that you're going to be using.
Mm-hmm. And Manny's exactly right. Students purchase their own textbooks. If you have a sequence class like Calculus 1, 2, and 3, that book can be upwards of $200. What if you're not taking all 3 of those? You still get the privilege of paying for that textbook. There are some movements among our math department to provide open source resources for students or open educational resources, but textbooks are incredibly expensive. Aranza, we do have some scholarship support for Running Start students, and another shameless plug for ORCA. Anyone at ORCA who asks for book support will receive a book scholarship.
Thank you, Artie and Manny. Next question. If my student has been in snow out, do we need to request a transcript from them as well? Or will LSHS counselors have those? Amy?
Lost my button for a minute. No, the snow out grades are posted on our high school transcript. They just need to ask for one transcript from LSHS.
Thank you. Next one. So you're able to graduate high school with an associate's degree? Because I have 15 college credits by the end of this year and I want to do full-time Running Start. Aranza?
Yeah, great question. Yes, it is possible to graduate high school with an associate's degree. As Avianca mentioned, you do have to plan to be a full-time Running Start student, starting with college level courses in your first quarter. If you have already earned college credits through college and the high school, that's amazing. You've already have like a pre-Running Start when it comes to your degree. One of the great benefits of the enrollment process at Everett Community College is that you're going to be speaking with an entry advisor, and they're going to be looking at those college credits that you have already earned, and they will be able to have a conversation with you about where those credits land in terms of the associate's degree. But yes, you can definitely graduate with an associate's degree as long as you plan and you communicate with your high school counselors and with your advisors at the college.
Thank you. Where do we apply? Is there a link? And I want to add that there will be some helpful links in the presentation slides. We're going to post it, and you will be able to access those as well. Just wanted to say that real quick. Bianca.
Hey, Mr. T, sorry, let me jump in. They're also on our planning guide that all the students got this week, so they can go online and get them there as well.
Thank you.
Great. I just wanted to, if it's all right, if I could share my screen for a moment, I also just wanted to show how to get to the Running Start page on the EVCC website.
I saw the thumbs up from Alderson, Mr. Alderson.
Awesome. So this is our Everett Community College website. It has a ton of information on it and can seem a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So my favorite tool on it is this search box that's always right here at the top. And then this blue button right next to it, which is for virtual student services. So to find us in Running Start, you could just type Running Start in this box and we'll come right up here. And then we have all the information we shared this evening and more on this page, including some helpful videos for you to watch and links right to our information sessions that we're offering if you want to hear this information again, or refer your friends and other family members to hear some of this information. And then all of the links to what you need to do to participate in the program are here as well. So this is a great resource for you in addition to the resources that the Lake Stevens staff are giving out to you. And if it's okay, Artie, I just wanted to show that they can find the ORCA page by doing the same thing. Just type in ORCA in the top there, and it'll get you right to their page again with some beautiful footage from out on the boat. So please check out those pages as well. You can find lots of information there.
Bianca, can I add kind of a question because it kind of fits there? If a student or a parent goes into that page and they see that wealth of information, sometimes a wealth kind of piles on you and I get kind of stuck. Who would be the appropriate person to reach out to? Would that be my high school counselor first, or would it be you or somebody else?
Yeah, they could reach out to their high school counselor. We're happy to help you if it's a question that we can answer about kind of our side of the process or how things are going. You can always just email runningstart@everettcc.edu. But if you have questions about, the classes that you want to take or what you need to do, again, because of that FERPA law and the fact that folks on our campus aren't necessarily going to know that you are still in high school, you are always going to want to start with your counselor at the high school for that information.
Thank you, guys. Next question. If you graduate with both a high school diploma and AA degree, do I automatically get accepted into a Washington State University? I want to go for my bachelor's. Artie?
That's a great question. It used to be the case that there was a direct transfer degree that students earned. But remember, you're still a high school student and you do not have a degree when you are applying for university. So you'll still work with your high school counselor. You'll do your university applications and you're admitted as incoming freshmen with your cohort. And then as soon as you set foot on that campus, as long as you sent them your official transcript during the summer after it's posted, you are then a junior. So your first priority as a freshman gets you housing, etc. But then your associate's degree is actualized on your university transcript. So remember, you still have to write essays, and grades will matter even more since SATs or ACTs may not be part of your application package this year. So do well with us and you'll do well in the future.
Thank you, Artie. I want to make sure that classes I take through EVCC are also going to count towards high school graduation when needed. Is there a list of EVCC courses that LSHS accepts so I can avoid any confusion? Amy?
Your first job is to meet with your counselor and make sure you have a plan, and we'll walk you through that. But the other on Mr. T's web or on this webinar, there is a link to our equivalent page. It's also posted on our counseling page and in the planning guide for students. So it's out there in a lot of different places. And that was the form that he said, maybe pin it somewhere or print it off and hang it on your wall. But that's something you should always be talking to your counselor to make sure you're on the right track.
Thank you, Amy. Now, this next question is really important, and I see that Mr. Alderson is going to tackle it. Thank you, because I know we've experienced this and seen this already and before. What happens if we fail a class, Mr. Alderson?
We take away your birthday. No, just kidding. So I'm just going to start this because I know that there's going to be some different responses. But the first thing to understand is, number one, it's not the end of the world, but you are behind in terms of making progress towards graduation. And folks, like Mr. T has said it a couple times and other folks have said it, the purpose of this panel is not to present barriers for folks in terms of approaching Running Start. It's really to give good information as to, is this for me? And I had emails about it today. I had meetings with parents and students yesterday of kids who have failed courses and now have to do some extra things in order to go ahead and keep on track for a high school graduation. I also know that there are some processes that EVCC has in place around academic progress. And so they can actually say, it's been a while since you've made good academic progress. No, thank you. And that's actually run by state law. Can I get a nod or a thumbs up? Like, you have to maintain a 2.0. Maybe I should just stop talking and let one of the experts go. So nose goes.
I guess that's me. Yeah. So every community college has their own satisfactory academic progress requirement. And it's pretty typical for it to be that students need to maintain at least a 2.0 GPA every quarter. What we do is that every time we get your grades at the end of the quarter, we will look to see what your GPA was. And this is all based on the grades that you've earned. And withdrawals can sometimes impact what your GPA is for that quarter. And then we work with our counseling center to determine whether you have met the satisfactory academic progress, or SAP as we call it. If you did not, then they look over the list. They'll identify who's on academic alert or warning or probation. And after 2 consecutive quarters below a 2.0 GPA, that's when it is required for all those students to meet with an EVCC counselor. So in addition to meeting with your own high school counselor, you also have to meet with our counselors to go over what were the struggles you were having, what is an academic plan you can do. But it's really still up to the student to follow through and to still ask for help when needed. It is unfortunate that sometimes students will go 3 quarters, 4 quarters, and that's where we start having much more serious conversations with your high school counselors. And please know that we always send these lists of academic probation to your counselors so that they can also start having conversations with you.
And then just to add a little bit onto that, so if you're a student athlete and you fail a class, you'll probably get banned from playing sports until you get your grade back up. So just a little note there also just to take in place.
Your answer and money. Next question. If my
Sorry,
child,
Zell.
oh,
I apologize. I just wanted to add too, if you are someone who is considering transferring on to a university after you graduate, just remember the conversation that we had about you have started a college transcript. And so you're not going to be on financial aid as a Running Start student, but if you are interested in using financial aid after you graduate from Running Start, whether to continue on with your associate's degree, or if you want to go on to a university, then that could affect your standing with financial aid if you're not passing your classes as well, and is up to the individual institution that you're going to determine if you meet their requirements for aid. So that's just another impact that failing a course could have.
Thank you for adding that, Bianca. The next question, I think I could combine these 2 questions, and Artie wants to answer them. If my child's first goal is ORCA, second is Running Start, should they apply for both programs? And the second question, I think, goes along the same lines. What was the relationship between earning an associate degree and the ORCA program?
I'm going to do the third one that's sandwiched in there too, Zell. So Running Start, we have what, 1,400 students doing Running Start. And so an ORCA student is a Running Start student that is then also applies to the ORCA program, of which there are only 60 students per year in the ORCA program. And the AA is an Associate of Arts, the AS is Associate of Science, the AA, it's actually AAS transfer degree is the distribution requirements that get you your quantitative reasoning, your composition or writing communication, as well as natural science, social science, and humanities distribution for a total of 90 credits. If you earn that associate's degree, you can take that with you to university, and that counts as your first 2 years of your general university requirements. And at all of our state schools that take the associate's degree, and all of our state public institutions take the AAS, the DTA, as those first 2 years. So then you're technically junior status, ready to take your major requirements at university. Not all, if you don't have that associate's degree, however, not all credits are going to transfer to every university. Oh, I'm doing that one too. I'm doing 4 questions in one. If they have an ampersand in them, those are common courses and are automatically admitted at universities. We had a student go to Colorado State University, where there is no ocean in Colorado. So they were not going to take her oceanography class that she took with us. But because she had the Associate of Arts and Sciences degree, they took it as part of her package, and she did not have to do any more math or science, excuse me, because she was done. So ORCA students have laid out for them the degree requirements. Their high school at Lake Stevens, they're getting their American literature, their junior English, as well as their math, and their senior requirements for Lake Stevens, they're getting their political science and their English, and as well as meeting the distribution requirements for that Associate of Arts and Sciences degree. So successful ORCA students, and pretty much all the students who are coming to ORCA are successful. So when they graduate from Lake Stevens, they get their Viking diploma. They are also graduating from Everett Community College's ORCA program. Did I get them all?
I believe so. Thank you. Woo. So next question, if your student starts Running Start and later changes their mind, can that be done back to a full-time high school student? How does that process work, Amy?
So it can be pretty tricky. If you are at Running Start and wanting to return, they're on the quarter system, which does not match our semester system. And that's where it gets tricky in timing. So a lot of times you may miss out on a bunch of space that you could be earning credit that you're waiting to come back to our semester so you can start earning credit. So it's not a very simple process. Doesn't mean it can't be done. Sometimes it's appropriate for a student to return, but that would just mean you need to sit down with your counselor and map out a plan for what's going to work best for you. So every one of those scenarios is going to be different per student.
Thank you, Amy. And it looks like we are done with the questions. Mr. Alderson, am I correct?
Yeah, so we've answered the remaining questions in there, and I just want to thank our panelists for sticking around for an extended period of time, and for the folks who have stuck around with us. We know this has been lengthy, and thanks for the opportunity to chat with you all tonight.
Can I give one little last caveat, Mr. Alderson?
Mr. T's program.
For all students out there. Oh, Mr. T, sorry. To all the students in the web world watching our faces, your best course of action if you still have questions or are confused or need some more help is to email your high school counselor and schedule a meeting with us. We're doing Google Meets all the time, and mid-March is our kind of time that we've put aside extra space for meetings. So please reach out. We'll get everything answered. Every student's story is different, so it's sometimes a lot easier to have those one-on-one meetings with you and your family.
Yes, I thank you, Ms. Wickland. I totally agree, and we're here to provide support in whatever way we can. And I, just as the principal here at the high school, want to again thank our family and friends, basically from Everett Community College. We've been working together quite a while over the course of the last couple of years, and I just truly appreciate your time and your energy. Manny, it was a nice add to have a student voice tonight, so thank you. And thank you, Mr. Hernandez and Ms. Wickland, for staying so late. It's kind of normal for us administrators, but we know that this is taking from your family time. So I appreciate it and have a great evening. And thank you to all the participants that were on screen tonight.
All right, folks, so I have stopped recording. We still have attendees list is dropping down to 15, but we're not quite alone. I just, again, thank you so much for being here and just giving. So if there's something we can do to express our appreciation. So Manny, like gift card to Starbucks or like, I don't know. I'm not buying you an adult beverage, not for a couple more years, I don't think. So. But others, just please let us know how to repay you. We're deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you.
Well, I promise to keep emailing them random questions all the time and ask